give you a brief overview, and then we'll introduce the company.
All right, I'd like to call the public safety meeting to order. We have, please note, Alderman Massey's here, Alderwoman Ray, Alderman John Francois, and Alderman Johnson is not here. So the police chief requested this meeting, so I'll turn the floor over to him. Chief Wanchu.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present. This evening, what I would like to do is present a software company to the council. I've had many conversations with most of you in this room in regards to traffic concerns. More often than not, we try to address them through some enforcement. We put the speed trailer out and we gather data, give you guys the data when you need to make decisions. Recently, we were fortunate enough to come across this company. It's really impressive, and I sat through a demo with my admin. We realized this could be an amazing tool for us to help combat some of the issues that we have with traffic. It's not a solution that's going to resolve our traffic concerns, but it is an amazing piece of technology. For simple terms, it's like putting a speed trailer on every single street in our city every single day, 24 hours, 7 days a week. So it gives us real-time data. But we have Mesa and Micah with us from the company called Urban SDK. They're going to do a quick demo. They'll be able to answer some questions. So Mesa and Micah, appreciate you taking the time this evening to present to our council. They are in Virginia, correct? So you're both in Virginia? No?
Jacksonville, Florida.
Florida. Southern part. It's much nicer there right now. But so they're Florida.
No, thank you, Chief, for giving us this opportunity. We look forward to kind of displaying our program and the solutions we provide here. But I'm here joined with my VP of Revenue, Micah Dickman, who will pretty much be taking over and giving the demonstration tonight.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mason. And thank you to the members of the council and the community for joining us this evening to give us the opportunity to demonstrate to you all a little bit about who we are, what we do, why we do it, and then walk you through a short demonstration of the product itself using the data that was pulled, some sample data from your jurisdiction's boundaries. So as I said, what I would like to do is just take you through a brief company overview and history, walk you through the demonstration itself, and then open up the floor for an open discussion amongst the group to make sure that you guys have all of your questions answered and there's no levels of uncertainty prior to a partnership ensuing. So once again, thank you so much. As I said, I'm Micah Dickman. I'm the VP of Revenue, so I'm over all sales, marketing, account management here at Urban SDK. I'm one of the original team members. My background is actually in government administration. I'm a veteran of the United States Coast Guard. I actually served up in the Northeast as my first duty station out of Boston, Massachusetts. I was associated to a cutter up there that did counter drug interdiction, and I was actually in the Brooklyn yards there for a little while out of New York. So really, really appreciate what everybody does in that room wholeheartedly. It's not an easy job. It's not always very forgiving, but you know, we need people like you, and that's why we're here to do what we do. So we're Urban SDK. We're a Jacksonville, Florida-based company. We were started in 2017, and really on the premise of local government has asked a lot of questions about things going on their roadway network, whether it's safety concerns, congestion-related concerns, speeding-related requests from the community, and they've got to have quick answers to be able to not just respond to their constituents, but also be able to diagnose problems before they become a more serious issue. So early on, the city of Jacksonville and the North Florida TPO came to us with an opportunity. It was a federal grant initiative around what was called a Smart Cities Challenge grant, and approached us because of our backgrounds in government administration, but also in software development, and wanted us to develop a program that would not only standardize their data, but would give them data on every street throughout their jurisdiction's boundary. And after doing a lot of discovery early on, what we found is that local government, not just our own city here within the city of Jacksonville, but most communities across America are inundated with public complaints. And while every complaint deserves to be heard and responded to, 80 to 90% of public complaints are perception issues nationally. which means we are allocating an astronomical amount of taxpayer dollars, resources, and the limited capacity we have from a staffing side to areas that are not systematic problems. So once we took on that investment from the state of Florida and through the governor's office, what we did is we developed that program to provide speed, so average 85th, 95th percentile speeds, congestion metrics, volume metrics, and safety metrics down to every road throughout a jurisdiction's boundary. We have now partnered with over 250 agencies nationally. We have about a half a dozen there within the state of New York, and we're also in 42 states and even up into Canada. And really what we solve for our agencies are four major components. One is exactly what I just said. It's public complaint. So the historical way of receiving a public complaint is a complaint either comes into this group, it comes into chief's office, it comes into the sergeant's office, or maybe a member of the engineering department. And what we have to do typically is either send an officer out there, we have to go put a manual data collection device out there. We find out 80 to 90% of the time, after 2 to 6 weeks of data collection, there's no systematic problem on the roadway that this group can come together and improve a budget that would allow for a change to be made to the roadway network. They're typically perception issues. So now with Urban SDK, what the members of this group, the police department have the ability to do is log into Urban SDK and within 30 seconds of receiving a complaint, be able to get near real-time data and 13 months of historical data to identify, is this an issue that needs to have taxpayer time, dollars, and resources allocated towards it? If not, within 5 minutes, you're going to be able to respond to that constituent and help them understand why you're making the decision that you are. The second thing is pre and post implementation of any changes within your community. So every community across America is very unique, but what is a common theme is that you all have seasonality to traffic within your community, from schools in session to tourist seasons, new land uses opening, different initiatives to implement safety measures within your community. Traffic is a lot like water. No matter if you put a dam in front of it, it's always going to find a way. So it's extremely important to be able to say, one, was the decision we made effective, but was it equitable for this community? And is it repeatable in the future as you guys deal with very similar issues? If you didn't solve the problem, you now have data very quickly to say, well, we didn't solve the issue, so now what do we need to do to execute on a new strategy and not have to wait until really our third use case here, which is public safety, and not waiting until there's a serious injury, a fatality, or a public complaint to take action on one of these issues. What we have the ability to do is give you this data every single day so that you guys can make strategic decisions around knowing where the systematic problems are on the roadway network, where the dangerous areas are, and then being able to deploy your resources to those areas. We actually, we partnered with Dallas PD a couple years ago. Obviously, really, really large agency. Now we partnered with cities like Dallas all the way to the Manitowoc Springs of the world, which is in Colorado. They have 1,000 constituents, and they use our program in the same fashion. What Dallas found was last year, this time last year, they were at 72 fatalities halfway through the year. This year, implementing our program and using this to allocate resources, they're down to 48 fatalities within their community over that same 6-month period. So seeing a really tangible return there by increasing public safety. And the last use cases is really for this group, for the chief, and it's how we communicate with the public. All of the reports that we give you, you have the ability to share them. You have the ability to work together through the program and essentially get this group singing off of one sheet of music so that everybody is strategically aligned with where the issues are and how you guys want to handle them. What I'm going to do now is share my screen and walk through those use cases that I just shared with you. So can everybody in the room see my screen? Awesome. So what you are looking at is a month of sample data from our system for your jurisdiction. And for every single road within the boundary, what you're able to see are speeds for every road. So average 85th, 95th percentile speeds, speed differentials, which would be where are the areas that have people going X amount of miles above the posted speed limit. Safety metrics, so where are we likely to have a serious injury or collision? Volume, so how many people typically use that road on any given day? And then congestion metrics. To keep it simple, What I'm going to do is I'm going to select our 85th percentile speed, as that's the national standard. And typically what we found is the standard for data collection within the state of New York, and come in and just lay out an example. So let's say on Beacon Street that you had a constituent concern and you wanted to see very quickly, is this a systematic problem or is this just a perception issue? What you would either be able to do is type in the constituent's address, the land use, the point of interest, or you could come in and select the roadway. And now what you can see on this road, the 85th percentile speed is 16 miles an hour. You can see how it fluctuates throughout days and time periods throughout the week. And then what you can see is that early morning on Thursdays and Fridays are when your highest rates of speed are occurring. Additionally, you can see the max speed during that time frame, the minimum speed, and then you could actually see eastbound, westbound, northbound, southbound for every segment throughout your community. So that you are not just sending a resource out there, but in the case that there is an issue, you know which side of the road it is, you know which segment of the street it is, you know the day and the time. So when we think about attacking it with our resources, we can be very precise with the way that we allocate those. The next use case would be, where do we send our officers? Where do we deploy our data collection? How do we identify these issues before they become serious problems? And a lot of that comes from understanding the areas that have these issues. So let's say we wanted to come in and it was a Tuesday for the 6 to 6 shift. And they wanted to see for the Tuesday 6 to 6 shift, where do we have these systematic issues? Let's say we want to see all roads that have a rate of speed of 5 miles an hour above the posted speed limit. They would put in 5, and now they can see for Tuesdays, the 6 to 6 shift, they can identify not just the roadway, but the time period and the segment that has these issues. And now what you can see is Highland Avenue on this particular segment has people going 7 miles an hour above the posted speed limit, and you can see that's pretty consistent throughout the day so that you can be more precise with those efforts. Now, if this group wants to start doing more community education, wants to start sharing these reports amongst each other, to start planning for the next year's budget or thinking about capital improvements, what you have the ability to do is quickly download all of these metrics into a PDF. Or what you could do is send out the link to this report right here in your browser, and you could share it with anybody, and they would be able to actually interact with the information. They'd be able to go in and view the information as you see it and as you have filtered it. With that, I know that's high level, and what I just went through was a lot of information, but I just want to pause here for a moment and give the council and the members that have attended this meeting the opportunity to ask us some questions or give us a use case, and we'd be happy to walk through it.
I got a question. How'd you collect that data?
Yeah, absolutely. So we collect all of our data through connected vehicles. So a connected vehicle is any vehicle on your roadway network that retains telemetry or smart technology. So think about embedded devices like GPS, Waze enabled, Apple CarPlay, Sync, OnStar. We don't know who these people are. We don't know where they're going. We don't have any personal information. What we know is there's a vehicle on the roadway going 52 miles an hour at 8:05 in the morning. This is all federally accepted. So New York DOT, as well as US DOT, FHWA, have approved this as a credible source of information for these level of studies.
Just to follow up on what the council president said, what percentage are those vehicles that you're catching out of 100% typical right now on our roads? What percentage are equipped with those satellite communication equipment or Apple Play or Waze? Or
Absolutely, that's a good question. So when it comes to the penetration rate that you get, typically 4 out of 5 vehicles nationally retain some level of telemetry that we can aggregate from. With that, what we have observed based off of looking at hard counts nationally over the last 7 years, it ranges somewhere between 40 and 50% of the vehicles on your roadway. Now, before becoming a partner, like what we did with Chief, we've actually gone through QA and QC based off of your hard counts and compared those, and they're going to come back within either right on the money or within maybe a half a mile an hour to a mile an hour in difference. Our mean absolute error percentage is less than 2% for any road throughout the United States.
Did you say 4 out of 5 or 40 to 50% vehicles?
40 to 50%.
40 to 50%, so, okay. That's the vehicles that you'll be able to track. Is that right?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I'm having a little bit of a hard time hearing, so I apologize if I'm not answering your question fully.
Okay, no. The percentage of the vehicles that you'll be able to track at this time. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you a little bit
Yep.
better now. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so based on what percentage of vehicles can you track at this time? You know, I'm sure further down the line, more vehicles are gonna be equipped with more telemetry and all that, but at this time, it's 40 to 50%? Or
That is
4 out of
exactly right.
5?
And all of the data is calibrated off of the state's counts. So we have a partnership with New York DOT. We have access to all the permanent count station data that is gathered, and then we do a correlation method between those to make sure that all the data that we're providing is within that mean absolute error percentage.
All right, so I think you're talking about the accuracy of the speed, that's what you're talking about. What I'm saying is the percentage of vehicles on the road at this time, what percentage of the vehicles that are on the road that you can track with your software? Can you hear me?
I believe what you're asking, I'm sorry, I'm still having a little bit of hard time hearing, so I apologize, but I want to make
Give
sure
me
I'm
your cell
answering
phone.
this correctly. What we have the ability to track within your community can fluctuate, but it's going to be somewhere in the range of 40 to 50% of the vehicles, 24/7, 365.
Got it, thank you, I got it, thanks.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned safety. Besides speeding, what other kind of uses can it be used for?
Yes, absolutely. So some other use cases that you guys would have the ability to use it for are, one is you can integrate safety data into here and overlay it to be able to identify hotspots that relay to areas that have high rates of speed as well. You also have the ability to integrate any layers that are meaningful to you guys to track. So think about school zones or urbanized areas, public parks, areas that are of high vulnerability. You can actually monitor those areas as a layer within the system. Additionally, if work zones are something that you guys deal with or road closures, and you want to be able to identify, where are we displacing traffic to when we shut down a road closure, or what should we anticipate is going to happen when a road is closed down, where is the traffic going to flow through? You're able to identify that. And then one thing that we've seen is a really common use case amongst municipalities of your size is a tendency to go back and look at the historical data. So you guys have 13 months of backfill data from day one. So being able to go back and track seasonal trends to then be able to plan for what the roadway is going to look like in the coming years. So if you know that you have concerts that are recurring, schools in session versus out of session, pass-through traffic due to tourism in neighboring communities, you can go look at the historical data and derive trends to be able to plan for the upcoming year.
Micah, I believe there's another layer for crash data as well.
Can you say that again?
Crash data? Maybe if one of you guys
Mason.
says it on your mic, it might go through.
He's asking about
Goes through a lot.
overlaying
Can
crash
you,
data and also collecting
Crash
the
data.
data.
Are you able to determine crash data using the
Yes.
system?
Yep, that's exactly right. So we actually go into the state's database, we have access to it, and we can overlay that accident data onto any report. So it could be, we just did a study for the city of College Station, Texas, where we took 10 years of their historical data and their most recent data and actually completed an analysis for them in one of their high pedestrian network areas.
Now, we have a fireworks display tomorrow night. Could you go back to last year and see where the traffic was displaced to better direct the traffic? Like a specific
Yes, you'd
day?
have the ability to do that. So if you partnered with us, let's say on August 1, you'd be able to go back to July 1 of 2024 and see all the information for every day, for every hour.
My question is, like, you're getting your information from New York State DOT, like, is anybody else getting this also too? Like, how are you getting this? Is
Yeah,
this-
absolutely. So the way that we access the information is we pay a lot of money to be able to access this data source. We then take that data, we process it down to what we call as the linear referencing system. So every road throughout the entire country. We then turn it into metrics that are meaningful to local and state government. We take raw observations, we turn them into statistics, and then we append it to the network and then prescribe it through our software so that you can visualize it and have metrics that are useful to you. But Mason, who else within the state of New York do you work with up there that's either partnered with us recently or over the last year?
Yeah, absolutely. Kingston, White Plains, Bethlehem, East Hampton, Yonkers, New York are just some of the few clients currently.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
How close within say a 3-foot diameter that can you get to in actual vehicles? For instance, I guess my question would be if we have, yes, there's speeding concerns, but if you have concerns of people running stop signs or things like that, could we see in a section of a road, if a car is slowing down during times of day or if they're just, going through?
So what you're going to be able to see is you could see delay at an intersection. You could see what the rate of speed is at a stopping device. Now, you're not going to be able to see what percentage of vehicles are running that. I always want to be transparent about capabilities. I actually had that request from a current client yesterday. So it's something we're doing R&D into to be able to show what percentage of vehicles run stop signs within a community. But as of right now, you're not going to be able to get an exact number of how many vehicles ran a stop sign. You'll be able to see how fast are people going on that segment, and then what are the lower rates of speed, like the idling speeds there. But you're not going to know definitively, just like you would with the speed or the volume, how many people are running through that intersection.
Sure. Thank you.
Can I ask a question? In terms of how you would apply this to patrol officers, my question would be, is this something where it'll run a report for you to tell you on any given time of day what section of the city needs attention, and then you could adjust your staffing? Is that what the goal is here with this software? Or is it to be responsive to questions about where we're seeing issues?
Both.
Okay.
As far as deployment for resources, as they mentioned earlier, this will be, you'll get more bang for your buck, basically. Instead of just randomly sending police officers out to address traffic concerns based on complaints, speed trailer data, whatever it is, this will be real time that we can say, all right, we have a traffic detail today, where are our highest points of concern? And then we could send our staff out there.
And then you can also quantify the results of those patrols as well by seeing a reduction after the fact, so we can
Hopefully.
show efficiency,
Hopefully.
right? I mean, listen, I've always said, I'm like, you could park an empty car in some of these roads and it would solve a lot of the speeding problems, and that really could answer that question of, is your presence there affecting the way people are driving there after they've been there for a few days?
Yeah, ideally, yes, that's what we'd like to see. You may have to ask this question for me, one of you, but to go back to Alderman Green, your question about the stop signs, I believe the streets can be broken down into segments. So the data is not just for one whole street, so we can look at those smaller segments near the stop signs or the intersections.
Chief, is this a yearly contract?
Yes, it is. So there is a cost per year, and some of those safety measures that they mentioned, and they could speak to that, they're layered. So each layer comes with an additional cost. And then, obviously, for most software companies, if you agree to sign on for longer terms, the cost comes down on the year, per year basis. I will tell you, the cost was much more reasonable than I anticipated after seeing the demo and hearing what it can do.
It's just software, but is there any hardware or capital improvements to put in throughout the streets?
Not that I'm aware of. This is all done via software platform, using, satellite data.
If
There is no implementation required as for hardware. We already have all the information throughout North America. It is as simple as executing a contract. We then go through onboarding and training with the staff or the members of the command staff who will be utilizing the information in the program. We make sure that it's customized to fit for the city and the needs that you guys are trying to solve for. And then the representative who trains and onboards you will be dedicated to you throughout the life of the contract. So they will be able to call that person Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, to be able to ask questions, onboard new officers, go through further trainings, and then as we come out with new features and updates, get training on those as well.
Do we pay extra for any upgrades?
I could not hear that one.
You gotta say it louder.
Yes, do we pay any extra for any upgrades?
Was the question, are you included with the upgrades?
Yes, do we pay extra?
So only for particular upgrades that would have to do with data processing. But anything that has to do with the UX, the UI, which would be the interface, or any small enhancements around functionality, those would all be included in the contract. We probably come up with one a year that has to do with data processing. So there's nothing within your contract right now that would be of an extra cost. If something does come out in the future, though, we will communicate with the chief, let them trial it, and then determine if they want to purchase it at that time. But there's nothing currently that they wouldn't have access to.
I have a question about customer service. They call a number, do we get someone that works for the company, or is it outsourced to out of the country, or?
All of our customer service is located within our headquarters within Jacksonville. So we have them bifurcated by state and region. So we have a account manager who is dedicated to the Massachusetts, New York, and New Jersey area and manages all the accounts within that area. But they are located within Jacksonville. You'll have their cell phone number and can call them as long as they're not on vacation or something crazy going on. They'll answer the phone.
Okay.
No other questions? Everybody's good? That's excluded, that's extra.
Nobody wants to know.
I think we're good. We definitely appreciate your time this evening, Micah and Mason. And I'll be in touch at some point.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys all so much for your time. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we end, can I just put my guys on the spot? Sorry, guys. This is your first time seeing this. You're out there doing traffic. We task you with a lot. What do you think of the program?
This basically does what our speed trailer does, except every street at the same time, instead of letting it out there, street by street, complaint by complaint. We're having maybe not necessarily the physical data of every single car, because we don't have the ability to do every single car, but with this, we have 42% of that data.
What about when we task you with going out to do traffic?
I think there are targeted areas. It's going to be go to this location at this time, and statistically, there should be violation, as opposed to just complaint of this time. And definitely, not targeted is the word, but it's more
precise.
Yeah, it'll give us the ability to have a whole citywide overview of the issues instead of having the speed trailer deployed. For example, out on East Main. By having a speed trailer out on East Main, we're just focusing on East Main. With this, we can have citywide, so we can check if there's issues on East Main, we can check if there's on Beacon, all at the same time, and then after that, focus on certain areas.
I think this will also give us raw data, like sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes when people see the speed trailer, our good citizens slow down, so we don't get accurate results. So this will be, like, nobody's watching. It's the eye in the sky and give us real information.
Chief, I'm assuming, I'm stating the obvious, but you've investigated this and probably done enough research. You're totally in favor of this?
I am. I think it's going to be a great tool for us to address our traffic concerns, both on your levels, so that we could address your concerns with your constituents, as well as better deploying the police officers to a more precise time and location to address the problem. As they mentioned, perception. Perception is some people's reality. We've all seen that. We've also seen it where the perception is, like, really an issue. But I think this will give us a tool to better combat some of our traffic concerns. The cost is not crazy.
What is the cost?
Do you want to share
It's
that
about
with us?
$13,000 for the basic package.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
13,000 for the basic package a year. If you buy more years, up to 3 years, it goes down to about 11. But then if you want those other safety layers, each layer comes with a cost, and I don't know those specific costs. So did I.
Have you been in contact with other towns that's actually utilized this technology?
I have not. I've been on their website. It shows the departments that they're partnered with. The partners that they mentioned here in the local Hudson Valley area are very big departments. Westchester County, Yonkers, they're big departments. They're more of a
any
cutting
others?
edge department, spend a lot of money on
know.
resources and
What?
technology.
Said no.
Oh,
I believe
okay.
I'm comfortable and confident that if they're investing in this, that it's a good product.
Is there anyone out there that we could reach out to
I
just
can,
to see?
yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, chief.
So I'd like to call the meeting, or adjourn the meeting. Thank you.